Moving on to things that should have opened, but haven't opened, but are now opening. This is our next topic. After being closed for nearly 2 years, Disney's Typhoon Lagoon reopened to the public on January 2nd, 2022. The park originally saw its closure due to the COVID-19 pandemic that hit back in March of 2020. With Typhoon Lagoon, a park that opened in 1999, now officially back in operation, this brings all of the Walt Disney World theme parks back to public guests to enjoy. Sean, let me know, I want to know a little bit about your thoughts on the park in general, if you've been there and just kind of like what you think about it, but also the big topic of this story is now finally, since March of 2020, almost 2 years ago, it was like what 22 months ago. Now officially every single park that Disney owns is finally reopened.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
So Disney's Typhoon Lagoon is a fun park. I'm not like a super duper water park person. However, I know it's like one of the highest rated water parks in the world.
Yeah.
It's like remarkably well renowned for just being this exceptional place. I mean, I think it's fun. I think it's great. I love the attractions there. I think on a side note, I think after experiencing like H2O Glow nights,
yeah,
you can kind of like, which you can do like the whole park in like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. It's a small park.
Yeah. And so I think for that reason, I know personally, I've got actually a few very close friends who are obsessed with this water park.
Really?
And so I don't want to like put it down, but I think it's just, it's not designed to be the main attraction of Walt Disney World. It's
an extra add-on.
It's an extra add-on that is still very premiumly well kept and well themed, and it's got a lot of Disney magic to it. I think it's unfortunate that it's been closed for so long. I know some people who have been so sad that because of its closure. But as far as though regarding your second question, my thoughts on just the fact that it's been, you said 22 months since all the Walt Disney World parks have finally reopened. I mean, it's so crazy because it's just insane, that whole thought process, I guess. I don't know. I was actually talking about this in a post I was doing earlier today. And it was like back essentially to what we kind of talked about, but all the changes that came about with COVID, and one of those things was like the theme park reservation system, like, that premiered here at Walt Disney World, and then Disneyland was closed for so long, like they couldn't even get it.
They couldn't even
open because nothing was open. And then after I think over a year, Disneyland was closed for.
Yeah, it was like 14 months or something like that.
Yeah, and then it finally reopens with that.
Yeah, they said when they closed the gate, there's that funny video where they were like, "We can't wait to see you in 2 weeks, guys." And then like
literally
not 14 days, it was 14 months.
Yeah, and so it's. But so I guess like it was because of COVID, like they implemented the reservation system, and then that slowly, of course, came to Disneyland because of the fact that it was so behind in just reopening. They couldn't even get it opened.
Yeah.
Like that in itself was so hard. So to be honest, I mean, it feels like we're still going in the motions. Like it doesn't actually seem that crazy, the idea that this is 22 months in the making. And I shouldn't even be laughing because it's so sad, but it's just, it seems on par with how everything else has been. It doesn't actually seem that outlandish to me, considering everything that has happened and all the changes that have made and the special accommodations that have had to come because of this situation.
Yeah.
And so, it's wild. I never thought that theme park would be closed for so long, especially given the fact that so many other parks have reopened so much sooner. I mean, look at Universal Orlando, that was opened in like 3 months.
Yeah.
And so then compare that to 22, it is a wild it's wild to look at those two side by side. Of course, they're remarkably different, obviously.
Yeah.
But the idea being a Central Florida theme park, water park, whatever, I don't know. It's just, it makes sense to me, but it is like, it's mind-boggling, but it also, I'm not that surprised actually that it's been 22 months. If you really look at everything that's happened, it actually doesn't seem that crazy.
Yeah, you know, I've been trying to be careful to not compare it too much to Universal, right? Who is this guy? I'm normally the guy that compares Disney to Universal all the time. But in this instance, I actually just kind of want to like temper myself and like not compare too much. I think it's easy to compare this situation to Universal because, you know, Volcano Bay reopened and Volcano Bay's directly competing with Typhoon Lagoon. But it is a little bit different of a story. You know, I think, you know, I could be wrong, but I think in terms of actual size, Volcano Bay is a little smaller.
I don't know.
I think that Volcano Bay, from my personal experience, is more of like a full experience, where Typhoon Lagoon feels like it was meant to be like an add-on.
Yeah.
You know, like if you've been vacationing there for 2 weeks and you've spent 10 days at the parks and you want to like experience some other stuff, this is like the perfect thing where you sleep in for a day, you go to the water park for a little bit, you spend a few hours, you spend the 3-4 hours that it takes to do everything. You spend the few hours that it takes.
With good lines.
Yeah. If it's crazy busy, then it might obviously. And then, so you spend your day, you relax, you do the stuff, and at the end of the day, you go to Disney Springs, you know, and then you go to the hotel. And like, that is how the water parks fit into your Disney experience. With that being said, I think it's a little different. Like, Disney's scenario is a little different to compare to than Universal's, because as much as I love Universal and as much as I think Universal has enough to warrant its own vacation the way that people vacation at Disney World, like, it has enough to make a 3-4 day vacation out of. Disney genuinely does have enough to make a 7, 8, 9, 10 day vacation out of, if you want to do everything. They just genuinely have a lot more at Walt Disney World, even though Universal is a great vacation destination. And I genuinely believe that if you go to Universal with the intention of vacationing there and you stay on property and you stay, you know, like you stay at one of their hotels, you go to City Walk, you experience the parks, the 3 parks that they have, the 2 normal parks, and then Volcano Bay, their water park. They have enough as is right now to warrant a multiple day vacation. They just don't do it at the scale as Disney World. And Disney has really been struggling with their workforce lately. And a lot of that I have been very critical of, because the way that I feel like, sorry if I'm stumbling over my words, I'm trying to say this very carefully.
Watch out.
Watch out. No, not because I'm afraid of like a company to like whatever, but because I genuinely care about
what you're saying,
what I'm saying,
and perceived. Yeah.
Yes, because I love both parks and I don't want to throw shade at either park. But ultimately, the way Universal handled the pandemic and their employment of their employees, although it wasn't perfect, it was done a lot more graciously and a lot more. I don't want to say humane, but like, you understand what I'm saying. Like,
maybe efficiently.
With the best intention of their employees in mind. And they really fought to keep on as many people as possible. And they really fought to set themselves up for better success, because Universal was smart about it. And they knew that they can't do business without their employees. It doesn't matter how high level or low level they are. You know, you can't sell turkey legs if you don't have someone selling your turkey legs. You know, like, you can't manage, like, you can't have a hotel if there's no one there to manage it. It doesn't matter if you're like on a big management scale or if you're sweeping
the floors.
You know, like, And Universal understood that, and they even like released a press announcement where they were very forward about, like, we understand that our employees are the reason why we're able to do business. So for their sake, but also for our sake. And I was really impressed with them because they did say on both ends, for their sake and our sake, we want to continue to work with them and treat them the best way possible now, because the way we treat our employees now will ultimately affect the way that we do business in the future. And they understood that one day they're going to have to open up.
Yeah.
And one day they're going to have these employees. And where Disney, on the other hand, didn't do that. They blanket just like got rid of tens of thousands of employees. And I understand that, like, I'm not throwing shade, I'm not throwing judgment. I'm just stating the fact that they did it two different ways. And Disney has really struggled, especially in recent months, to get those employees back. And we have seen a lot of things not reopen because of that. Like, that is the reason why trams haven't reopened.
Yeah.
Obviously, we just talked about this the other week. The Magic Kingdom trams finally are back, like, operating, which is amazing. But the reason why it took so long was because they just didn't have the workforce to do it. And when they got the workforce to do it, they had to train them for weeks to do it. Like, I remember from the time that we got the announcement they're coming back to them being back, it was like 2 weeks or more that we saw those trams driving around in the Magic Kingdom parking lot, but no one was able to use them because they were training people. And the reason why the other 3 parks don't have trams yet is because they're busy training people right now. So a lot of these people that, you know, like, the reason why these things aren't returning is because of workforce issues. The reason why Typhoon Lagoon didn't return until now was because of workforce issues. I don't want to, like, you know, be negative about that, but that's just the fact, is that is one of the main reasons why it never returned. Also, obviously, budgetary issues. You know, water parks do cost money to maintain, but they're not your biggest source of income. You know, like, people don't go to Walt Disney World for Typhoon Lagoon. But it is interesting to me that Blizzard Beach has been open for quite some time now. Like, yeah. I wonder why they chose Blizzard Beach over Typhoon Lagoon. Yeah. Blizzard Beach is newer, right? By like 3 years or something like that.
I believe it is, yes.
That's probably why. But I don't know. When I think of water parks, I feel like Typhoon Lagoon is the more popular of the two, right?
I believe it is, actually. Yeah. Like, only there's statistics that I don't have available off the top of my head, but I just know there is a prestigiousness to that water park specifically, and I wish I could regurgitate it here.
Well, and there's more like upcharge things that they can do at that park too, because like with the wave pool, they actually offer surf lessons.
Yes, they do. I've actually experienced that. Yes.
Yeah, that's something that they've done since day one.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big announcements that they made. Hey, we're coming back. Like, we're opening up Typhoon Lagoon, and surf lessons are still going to be a thing. Like, that's one of the things that water park's known for. So it's weird to me, like, that one didn't open first, but it is open now. I am very happy that it's open now. I think the timing of it is a little weird, though, if I'm going to be honest. It's after their peak season's already ended. Like, the same things that we were just saying about the Mummy, right? But the opposite. Yeah. Like, their peak season's over, so who's really going to be going to Typhoon Lagoon?
In like January. No,
and it's January. Yeah. Like, I know that it never gets freezing in Florida, but at times it does get cold.
It does. Yeah.
Like, there will be days where it's 50 degrees as the high. And like, I know that there are some crazy people from like Saskatchewan, Canada, or some like very up north. If you're from Alaska, or like, I don't know, like
some Icelandic location.
Yeah, I know there are some crazy people that come to Florida and they're genuinely like 50 degrees. It's beach weather. You know, no, it's not. You're crazy. Go home. No, not really. You can stay here. Just don't go to the beach when it's 20 degrees out. Like, it's weird. You do you, though. And so it's weird. A lot of these parks, these parks do have heated water.
Yes.
But
you have to get up out of the water and go from attraction to attraction. It's like freezing
exactly
cold, and you can die of hypothermia.
And so because of that, even though it has heated water, a lot of people just don't go to the parks when it's that cold, regardless, because of that. And so these parks, even though they can stay open year round, a lot of times they don't. Like, there are times where, like, specifically I can speak more towards Volcano Bay because I know more about that park than these other two water parks at Disney. But Volcano Bay at Universal, it technically does stay open year round, but a lot of times they only open it like when it's really cold out. A lot of times they only open it when it's like a Saturday, like it'll be open Friday or Saturday and Sunday or something like that. But you go on a Tuesday, you go on a Wednesday, like a lot of times it's closed for the day because there's just not enough draw for people to go to the water park. So it's just like a very interesting season. Like, if I were them and it wasn't possible for me to open it sooner, I would just postpone it now, because it almost seems like a waste, because you're hiring all these people, you're training all these people, you're paying for, like, I don't know if you saw photos of Typhoon Lagoon a few months ago before it reopened, but the place was like, it looked like a ghost town. Like, it was trashed. Like, all the water was drained. It looked like no one had cleaned it in months, because probably they didn't. So there were like leaves everywhere. And like, so the maintenance fees to be able to like sweep out all the pools and clean off all the slides and just to be able to get water flowing again. And all of this happening just to know that there are going to be days coming up, weeks maybe even coming up, where you're just not going to be able to open that park.
There's like no foot traffic.
So why spend all that money now? It's just very weird.
I almost wonder if the workforce they're actually able to obtain at this moment is not actually physically enough. And so in their mindset, they're able to slowly kind of transition into the summer months.
Limited operation or something. And kind of
like grow with this extended period of time that they have available to them. I mean, because I know, like, even when... I'll never forget when Walt Disney World first announced its reopening, and with the whole limited capacity thing, I'll never forget Bob Chapek did an interview with like MSNBC, and he was saying, well, we're still going to make money. And that, like, they were not, everyone, like, for the, the diehard Disney fans out there who like think it's all for the magic.
No, it's not.
It's not. And I get that, because it can't be, or they wouldn't be able to operate a business and it wouldn't exist.
Yeah, it's all business.
But it was interesting because it was that perspective of, well, no, we're going to make a profit. Like, even with this limited capacity, even with the reduced workforce, whatever.
Because if they weren't, there's no point.
There's no why they're going to open. And so I can only imagine that they're probably not expecting a lot of people, and they're probably not going to employ a lot of people in the beginning, and maybe it gives them this opportunity to kind of maybe go, I guess, work backwards how they did with the trams, but they'll have this opportunity to train and take on all these new cast members, like, kind of in waves over the next several months until the hopefully busy months. God knows what's going to happen.
Because they've got maybe 3 months. 2-3 months.
Literally, to really get it together. I'd assume it's part of a bigger plan, but I'm not the mastermind behind it.
Disney's not, like, no one at Disney's an idiot. Like, I know people like to call them idiots in the media right now, but literally, like, these are mastermind business people. Like, there's no way that they're listening to a podcast and being like, oh crap, he's right, we didn't think of this.
That like Sean guy.
Yeah, right.
No, of course, no, I know what you mean.
So it's like they definitely know that this is a slow season. It's all strategic.
Yeah, it is.
I guess,
and it has to be, or they wouldn't be able to continue, and they wouldn't have continued for so long. It just
I'm just curious to know what that strategy is. Like, what you're saying is probably the most accurate, where they're just slowly, like, phasing this back into.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard of any plans to like phase reopen this thing. It just sounded like that one day it was closed, now everything's open. You know, they're even marketing like, hey, we've got new desserts, and they're like, the big marketing push of Typhoon Lagoon is back wasn't, hey, we're back, it's hey, we're back and we've got new Dole Whip for you. And they announced like a whole bunch of different Dole Whips for this thing. So it seems like it's not just reopening, but it's like they're trying to like really do more with this too.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's no new attractions, but
Yeah.
you know, they are trying to give people incentives to get there. So yeah, I'm just curious to know like what that strategy is. They've got to have one, but the time period in which it opens tells me that they've got to have a strategy, because like, to me it doesn't make sense, and they're not idiots, so there's something going on here.
There's something going on there. There is. Yeah.
But let's turn that over to you guys. What do you think about Typhoon Lagoon reopening? Is this one of your... well, have you even been there? I don't know. Are water parks your thing? And if they are your thing, is this one of your favorite parks? And I don't know, just like, are you planning on going anytime soon? Personally, I would love to go, but I think I might wait until like beginning of March into February maybe. But the winter season is a great time to go because no one is at the water park. So yeah, just let us know down below what you guys think of Typhoon Lagoon reopening.